Damn, that's a big boat.
This chapter was nice. It really kind of gave us the journey to Ice Hell and delved a little bit deeper into some of the Gourmet Hunters that'll be joining us. Toriko, Gourmet number 69, dudes. Voyage to Ice Hell.
Right into it over here, so... Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring ya another review on the awesome and the ice hell-ridden, ingredient-filled tale of Toriko. Our last chapter saw us, of course, with, really putting together the motley crew that is going to go off and journey to Ice Hell, looking for this elusive ingredient of century soup. So, basically what winds up happening, that's where the chapter left off, is just kind of, everybody's getting together, everybody's been hired, they're going to go on this journey. And the chapter goes and picks up, they're on this giant ship that the Colonel owns over there, Colonel Mokkoi. And this thing's like 400 meters long, so I mean, you're looking at like, whatever, like a quarter of a mile, 200,000 tons. I mean, just huge icebreaker ship, right, to go and basically just take out any size iceberg, And it's real neat to go and see this. And so we go and we get this brief introduction about where they're going and what they're doing from McCoy. And he's just like, oh, yeah, first of all, we gathered you all here. And I want to say, like, I appreciate your bravery or something like that. And then he's like, okay, enough with that. He's like, let's move on. So he winds up going and explaining that the methane hydrate, and this is actually something that's naturally occurring in real life as well, and it's a very similar explanation. But what it is it's like this methane gas that's trapped beneath the crystalline ice or whatever, and it's prominently found on like the sea floor and stuff like that. And what's happening is they call it fire ice, and what it does is it actually goes and melts some of the ice in Ice Hell. And apparently is going to make it, and it only occurs once every century, hence the century soup, and the ability to really only be able to, to look for and to find the ingredient once every 100 years. So very cool explanation, as is always done in this series, and I really enjoyed it. And then they go and he talks about how we're going to journey to the continent of ice, Ice Hell. The average temperature is 50 below zero, and I mean, you'll literally freeze your face off, So we go and we see, though, that after that, explanation of kind of where we're going, what we're doing, there's actually a nice double-page spread that the chapter opens up with that kind of shows like it's like a slivered type of deal, that shows everybody's, faces and what have you. So, as a matter of fact, it's right here. It's like it's a big deal. And it shows everybody on there, Zongi and Toriko and Takimaru and all these different guys that are this motley crew that's been assembled to go and journey for these ingredients. So anyway, we wind up getting Toriko and Komatsu are standing out on the deck of the ship, and they're talking about these great thermal suits that were given to them for this journey, and Toriko explains that they're like layers of rubber on top of each other, and what happens is even the slightest movement causes friction amongst the rubber and generates like this nice, just wonderful hugging type warmth, and it actually helps them. He says it's actually better than the coat of the so-and-so polar bear or whatever, and I thought that was really cool, just the explanations of it, and just the kind of the suit that they have that's like this thermal suit that's going to be able to keep them warm, because let me tell you, we're living in Chicago over here, 50 below zero weather. It's not common here, but I have experienced it on more than one occasion throughout my life, and it's not fun. It's not pretty. I mean, your face literally just does like freeze up within a few seconds of being out in the elements. It's terrible. So very cool stuff, though. So then the dude that's part of the Knights or whatever, he winds up going, I think it's the Gourmet Knights they were called, if I remember correctly. They he comes out and he's on it. He's like, yeah, it's a shame that they don't make one for equestrian, for horses. And he comes riding out on his horse, and that's the dude that he looks a little bit like Coco to me, the way he's got his wrap and his hair is kind of hanging on the one side, and his name is Takimaru. He introduces himself to Toriko, and Toriko, makes mention of, he obviously knows their leader and stuff, and he's like, oh, how's Al doing and this and that, and he's like, oh, I'll actually be excited to know that I met you, I saw you and everything else. And he's like, you're kind of young for a knight, and anyway, the rest of the chapter, though, is really cool, because for those of you that have been waiting for some action because it hasn't happened in a few chapters and nobody's gotten arms cut off or, just destroyed, pulled limb from limb, this is the chapter for you. It goes into, and as they're on this journey, all of a sudden, there's like one of their deck guns goes and fires off, into the water, and then somebody goes and calls it monsters, and it's really cool because it's kind of an all hands on deck thing, and you get to see and showcase a little bit of some of these guys' abilities that we've just recently been introduced to. And as usual, Zangi's kind of a joke. But nonetheless, though, there's these things, they're like these sharks that actually have legs, and they're capture level 6. They're called Great Legs. And these things just kind of climb up the side of the ship. One of them jumps up on the deck over there, you know. And Toriko goes and just with one finger, man, just pop, just knocks the son of a bitch with one finger, you know. And Takimaru is like, oh wow, it's, you know, impressive, most impressive, you know. But you're not a Jedi yet. And then we see that Takimaru has like just this really badass move that he does where he just like concentrates, and he calls it bottle opener, and he like just does like this concentration deal, and he just like pow, 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 just nails a bunch of these things, because then they start swarming up on deck, right? And then they actually go and show like almost like an x-ray of what happens to these things, and like their skeleton, their vertebrae just literally like separates from these different hits that he does. So they're obviously like these pressure point impact hits, you know. We see Zangi come out over there, and he goes and he's going to save this guy. And he's like, oh, and he throws this axe, you know, like it's this big devastating move. It hits the thing and bounces off of it. And the guy, he's like, retreat, hurry, all the way back to our bunks, you know. So you know Zangi is just there for comic relief, because he really is just kind of a dick with eyes, you know. So I thought it was funny though, nonetheless. We did get to go and see some cool stuff. The dude that has the scarred face and whatnot, I forget exactly what his name was right now, Flame or something like that. He comes out and he's got a sword, and he comes out and just starts dicing these some bitches up over there, and really does some cool stuff. And I believe that's him. It actually looks like him. I thought, but nonetheless, though, like I said, that's what the chapter is based on, is just them going and taking out these Great Legs. And really, for me, it's a showcase of Komatsu, of course, is freaking out as usual and whatnot, but to me, it was to showcase the abilities of a couple of these hunters. You know, the big fat one wound up coming out there drunker, you know, and he was attacking and everything else. There's a huge sea monster that comes up out of the water over there, a huge sea snake or something like that, and Komatsu's just like, oh, I'll never get used to this, you know. But the bottom line is once they go and kind of clear everything off, or you assume everything is clear on the deck now, you know, once you go and you see one of the last pages, you go and you see, you know, land ahoy, you know, and then he's just like, no, wait, make that ice ahoy. And then of course the chapter ends, and the next one is titled Ice Hell. So we know that we're there, and the journey, as I said, was really just there to kind of you know, to really just kind of throw some action in there, and to accentuate and show off some of the abilities and how formidable some of these gourmet hunters may be, because obviously they're all pitted up against one another. You know, they're not going to get $10 billion or 10 billion yen each for retrieving the century soup. They're basically just going to go and spread out into whatever general area these things are, because Colonel Mokkoi knows where the actual ingredient's going to be, but I'm sure he doesn't have it pinpointed down to this you know, the exact square footage. It's probably, you know, oh yeah, within this 10-mile radius or what have you, and I'm sure it's going to be just a devastatingly brutal journey to get there. So I liked all the background, I liked the chapter, I liked the action. The Great Legs are kind of funny, but you know, to capture level 6 for Toriko or anybody that's around Toriko at this point is a joke, and we're not even that far into it yet. So my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, I guess, overall, what are your thoughts on Takimaru? They took some time giving him a little bit of background, and even Toriko, once he saw him do that move, the bottle opener, Toriko said, yeah, you know, he's young, but he's got some potential. You know, he belongs with these knights. What are your thoughts on Takimaru? Because I have a feeling that he's going to be somebody that's going to be featured kind of heavily. And who knows, maybe he's featured heavily and they get the spotlight on him, and then maybe he dies. You know, or maybe it's the type of thing where him and Toriko actually go and kind of help each other and team up during the course of this. But I feel like they gave him some screen time, some spotlight time, because there's going to be more to him. So what are your thoughts, brothers and sisters, on Takimaru and what we've seen so far? Leave the answer to that question in the comments down below. Just jumping the gun over there. My hands are thinking quicker than my brain and my mouth can actually, you know, spit the words out. So feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Shame on you if you haven't too. As Zangi would say, you got to subscribe right now. Anyways, and we will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation. Armin is thinking right now, damn, that's a big bitch. Hey, anyway, come follow me on my other channel and Twitter and Facebook as well.